Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to cilinixfxcapital and welcome to yet another video. I understand if you're getting tired of seeing my face today because we did a live stream, we did a middle of the day market update, I did my normal videos in the morning, and now we are back with yet another video, but I had to. Okay, and it looks very yellow there on the screen, so we'll adjust the lighting a bit. Wanted to do a bit of an emergency update. We pushed down lower, which was expected. If you watched my middle of the day market update, and if you were there for my live stream, what I told you is that, okay, there's some fundamental problems again, which we will also discuss in this video, so you have a bit of an idea of what's going on. So expect to move at least into 100,000, which is the range low with a potential to spike down lower, because ultimately what we see still at this point of time is that the volatility index, aka unrest, is spiking quite hard, right? I mean, the unrest in the financial markets generally at this point of time is quite high, and that's also the main cause of all the bearish momentum we're seeing right now. Now, when we're talking about, okay, what specifically is happening, I mean, we can look at the order flow and we can say, okay, there's someone or some entity massively selling on Bitcoin. I don't have the charts here, but maybe we'll be able to see it right here. Give me a brief moment to show you or not. So you can see right here over the course of the last, can I see the last day, please? Over the course of the last day, I mean, Binance or some sort of seller on Binance has sold off extremely hard, especially since about 3 hours ago until about 1 hour ago. It sold a total of, what is it? Like a total of $400 million in Bitcoin, or at least, well, potentially even more, but that it doesn't ultimately matter that much. I mean, Bitcoin is being sold off, crypto is being sold off, and there's instability in the markets. And yes, I mean, there's going to be big players selling their Bitcoin. There's going to be small retail selling their Bitcoin. Ultimately, who's selling Bitcoin doesn't really matter. Maybe the 10th of October, some sort of some sort of a bankruptcy, maybe something like that is still going on. But what I think the key reason is instability in the financial markets. And that's, you can see that with the volatility index. You could have seen that with gold, which started rallying on Monday already, when we also reversed the entire bullish move we had. And it's also forming a new uptrend right here, God forbid, but it is true. And S&P 500 equities have continued to push down over the course of today. And we also knew since yesterday already, if you look at the repo operations, this has to do with liquidity, that there still were some liquidity supply problems. We have repo operations. We've had repo operations since the 15th of October. These are signs of liquidity stress. And you can also see that with the SOFR spread, which is still very elevated, also has been elevated since September, but you know, the longer that takes, the more worrisome that becomes. And there's general uncertainty about the monetary policy in the United States. It's 50-50 whether we're going to get a rate cut in December. So I think a combination of all the things I've mentioned in the last 2-3 minutes, and there's also, by the way, there's a lot of Bitcoin sales going on by OG Bitcoin whales, right? So whales that bought Bitcoin between 2011 and 2016. So all of these factors are causing us to push down, but that is just the reality of the situation. And, you know, liquidity, I'll keep you updated on that. We're not going to get any updates on that today. Ultimately, the best thing we can do is take a look at the price. Now, I would say stay away from altcoins. Okay, there's a couple of altcoins like BitTensor and yeah, Hype is quite strong here. So that's good, but I would stay away from most altcoins. Most altcoins are just very much just following Bitcoin, and even more, right? More to the downside. Bitcoin in the last 8 hours is down 4%. If you take a look at most altcoins, it's between 4 and 10%. So not amazing. But ultimately, if we zoom on Bitcoin, I think we can get a better understanding of what's going on. You can see that there's severe selling going on. You can also see, hopefully, that this looks like a bit of a liquidation spike, as you can see. There's no bullish divergence yet, but that could form. We'll have to see. You can see that with this last 4-hour time frame candle, if it were to close in 12 minutes, the point of control is to the downside. That's a liquidation candle. That's great. Our most important support level, or previously support level, is at 100,000. For me, I can make this very easy for all of you. We have some point of controls here as well near and some single prints at the yearly rolling VWAP. What I think is going to happen is we are going to test the yearly rolling VWAP, so that's around 100,000, big psychological level as well. And then we are either, so yes, I am going to tell you that we can go up or down. That's the situation. You need to be ready in both scenarios. I've already started scaling into long-term Bitcoin spot, by the way, just so you know. But we either get up to, we get up to 100,000. I think that's very likely. And we either reclaim that. If we're able to reclaim it and hold it, then that's the bottom. All right, that's I think a local bottom. And then we can expect some bullish momentum into 103,000 before you know it. Do I think this is most likely at the moment? No, I don't think this is most likely. I think it's a realistic possibility, but it makes no sense to expect this if we are still trading below 100,000 and when there's still selling going on. And while the fundamentals are not great. I mean, the volatility index, like I said, is still elevated, is still rallying. Gold is still elevated, is still rallying. So there is still unrest, right? And if there is still unrest and Bitcoin has not reclaimed 100,000, it makes more sense for me to say, I think we're going to drop down lower. And when we're talking about dropping down lower, the main level that I'm looking at personally, and I do have some buy orders sitting there as well, is between 94,000 and 90,000. And at this point of time, I think it's more likely that we're going to push down into that level. So that we'll do something like this, and like that. I think this is slightly more likely on Bitcoin here. Would I short this? No. Okay, so that's the reason why I wouldn't short this is that I think that even though it's most likely we'll push down lower, I think we have about a 60% chance of doing something like this based on the current technicals and the current fundamentals, because I have to say, technically, this quite looks like a bottom. I think we have about a 60% chance to do that. I think we have about a 40% chance to do something like this. Right, so I think 40% chance of just reclaiming 100,000 right here and gaining some stability, which is a possibility also with these fundamentals. I mean, like I said, unrest is increasing, but the unrest is at the same levels as Friday, November the 7th. And the price right now is pushing down lower, even though there really isn't a reason fundamentally to push down lower than the prices back then, I would argue. And equities are also making a higher low, right? So that's also a reason why I think it is possible that we'll do this. I just think it's most likely, especially before we have reclaimed 100,000, that we're going to push down lower. And those are my thoughts. Hopefully it helps a little bit with clarity about the situation fundamentally and technically, and what levels to keep your eyes on, etc. It's difficult times, okay? It's difficult times. I'm personally also not trading a lot. I do have 2 trades open. Ask me why three trades actually. Ask me why and I wouldn't have a good answer, but I think it's worth it given the current situation. But look, I'll keep you updated on this. I'll be back with new updates, probably on X later this evening and tomorrow morning with full updates. So I'll see you then. But for now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.